Pittman is the top outlaw on the hard clay. Varon goes back-to-back at Glen Ridge. Stewie goes back to form at Fonda.
Stay out of the mud there, bud. It's Race Pro Weekly. Welcome to another edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. Last week at Fonda saw a rare result for some of the top guns at the Speedway with a lot of mid-pack finishes from Stewart Friesen and Bobby Varon. You would only have to wonder if they would come back, as the cream would only rise to the top, right? Brian Gleason and Pep Karate would lead the field to the green in the 30-lap modified feature at the Track of Champions. Cars on the move in the early going. Darwin Green trying to make his way up through the field. Yellow would be coming out. Jimmy Davis hops one of the implement tires on the inside, which sends Wilder to the outside wall. He would be your point leader and have to go from the rear of the field. On the restart, it would be Pep Karate taking the race lead back over as Gleason tried to fire back with Alton Palmer getting in there as well. And of course, no shocker here, car on the move, Stewart Friesen. He would be making ease of work on the outside lane. So he would go around Jeff Rockefeller. Meanwhile, battle for the lead as Brian Gleason would get back by Karate. Friesen would make his way up into the top five once again as the caution will come out for the 816 of Jeff Rockefeller. Off of the restart this time, it would be Gleason beating Karate to turn number 1 and 2 as he would maintain the race lead. Bode Bellinger holding on for third as he would go to work on Karate for second. As they got tangled up, however, Stewart Friesen would barrel around the outside and then decide to switch lanes and go to the inside of the 21P of Karate. He'd take the number 2 spot away. I'm sure it's no shock to anybody out there, Friesen was not done there. He'd go to the inside of Brian Gleason for the race lead, and he would get it at about the halfway point of this 30-lap feature event. As he comes through the corner this time, though, it appears something with the torsion bar breaks on the number 1 machine, and the yellow comes out as Gleason was catching the 1 for the caution for the 18B of Bode Bellinger. Off of the restart, Varon would go to the inside of Gleason for the number 2 spot and set his sights on the number 1 of Friesen, but Friesen, suspension broken and all, picks up the win at the Fonda Speedway.
These guys worked too hard during the week to give us a good car, and she held together. We had some parts missing and stuff, but you know, it was a pretty treacherous racetrack out there, and we just, you know, did what we had to do, picked our way up through to the front, and you know, just didn't want to give up on it.
Stewart Friesen does it again. Bobby Varon would get by Gleason for second on the last restart. Gleason would have to settle for third, Elmo Reckner fourth, and Darwin Green would round out your top 5.
Orange County, this salutes for you as World of Outlaws visit Middletown. On the start, Pittman, as per usual, is leading the field to the stripe and down to turn 1. Early in the race, battle for top 5 positions. Kinzer, Dar, and Brad Sweet all making moves early in turn 3. By the end of the lap, though, it's Brett Marks bringing out the first caution of the evening. On the restart, Dar and Sweet still fighting for top 5 going into turn 3. Back to the back, David Gravel gets by Ryan Smith for the 10th position. We move up front, Dar, Sweet, still battling your best battle on the track. Only thing slowing Pittman down, though, is the yellow for Russ Bennett. On the restart, Pittman out in front as he has been all night long, brings him down to the restart. But the back of the pack, it's heating up. Dar passes Kerry Madsen for position. Moving up front, Pittman running all alone down the front, but he starts to catch up to lap traffic. He's under Logan Schuchart next time around to widen his lead over Joey Saldana. Saldana starts to get run down by Donnie Schatz, though, going into turn 1. This battle is just heating up as well. Then Steve Kinzer hooks up with the train, and he's trying to battle and get into that 3rd position. Battle continues lap by lap. Saldana, Schatz, and Kinzer going back and forth. No movement yet, but Madsen slows down the field, bringing out the yellow last lap. Pittman brings him to the green to restart, and that's going to be your winner. Pittman, followed by Saldana, Schatz, Kinzer. Pittman's 3rd win in a row in the World of Outlaws. Darren Pittman, Joey Saldana, Donnie Schatz, Steve Kinzer, and Cody Dar, your top 5. And in the companion sportsman, it was Frank Beniza as your winner.
Denny Soltis and Paul Gilardi would lead the field to the green for the 30-lap modified feature out on the high banks, as Soltis would take the early race lead as he would grab it through turn number 1 and 2. A lot of cars on the move early, including the 42 of Kyle Sheldon, who's had a string of bad luck in the first couple weeks. Caution would come out early for the 98 of Colby Schroeder up in turn number 1 and 2. Following that was an interesting set of circumstances as Colby Schroeder and Laurenbro made contact, flipping the 98 on its roof. Track crews would attend to the car, and he would get it back out with almost no damage as he would continue. Off of the restart, Soltis would maintain the race lead once again, as a lot of cars would be on the move, including Kyle Sheldon, Eddie Marshall as well, who has had a big-time string of bad luck throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. On lap 9, however, the 42 of Sheldon would push to the inside of Soltis, and he would take the race lead heading into the west end of the speedway, and he would be gone by the time Eddie Marshall would pull into the number 2 spot ahead of the 1X of Denny Soltis. Meanwhile, a couple cars were also making their way through as Kyle Armstrong would get by Soltis for the number 3 spot, and a lot of cars trying to push to get their way up through the field, including Donnie Corellis, Kenny Tremont, and Andy Bacchetti, but it would be to no avail as Kyle Sheldon would pick up win number 1 in 2014.
Well, yeah, we got out really far on a restart, and I knew I had a good car, but I also race against the best here. You got Kenny Tremont, Jared Hefner, Brett Hearn. My thought is these guys are right here, and as long as I just drove it as hard as I could, I knew that at least I had a chance.
Kyle Sheldon would pick up win number 1 of 2014. Eddie Marshall would come home second, Kyle Armstrong third, Donnie Corellis fourth, and Brett Hearn fifth. It's now time for this week's fan poll question. Of the 3 big races this weekend, Indy, Monaco, and Charlotte, which race would you like to attend? Log on to cast your answers on Facebook or Twitter on the Race Pro Weekly page, and you'll have your answer read on the show next week. Taking a look back to last week's question, if you were a local car owner and could pick any driver to drive for you, who would it be and why? Well, we had over 43 different suggestions from the past and the present. Here are some of them now. Brian Oswald says Jeff Strunk. He can win in any car. Eric Avenengo says Brett Hearn. He's the fastest in anything and very easy on equipment. Plus, the professionalism he brings is second to none. Mark Kane says Mark Johnson. The kid has loads of talent now if he only had the finances to go with it. Not very many out there racing and winning with a home-built motor. John Solito says Brian the Dream Weaver. He has driven at 50 different tracks and has the ability to win at them all. And also Mark Cecina. Billy Pouch. He's won in everything and still dominates New Egypt. Performance. Quality. Service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts. Competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products. Race to win. Over the past weekend, there were some very interesting things, to say the least, to look at a couple of our local racetracks. Starting at the Fonda Speedway, well, Stuart Friesen had everything going wrong with that car during the feature, as he finished the race with a broken left rear suspension and a right rear tire that was flat by the time the car reached victory lane. One can only wonder how either Varon or Gleason did not catch him on the way to victory. At the Lebanon Valley Speedway for the second straight week, J.R. Hefner was clearly the car to beat in the early going of the feature. However, a flat tire on a lap 5 restart made things very hard for him, as it did sideline him to pit road, and he would have to come from the rear of the field. The fairways of Half Moon, not normally a spot where you'd see us go for Race Pro Weekly. However, it was the New York State Stock Car Association 12th annual tournament. You see Don Ronca getting a little golf play in there. Nice little drive from the driver of the number 7 machine, which the car you saw earlier. Dickie Larkin in action, making a few swings with his play from the fairway. And then there was Team Flack. Well, I really don't know what to say about them, and that might be an understatement. Anyway, Dickie Larkin and Ron Dwyer's team did pick up the victory in the NISCA Golf Tournament this year. Bobby Varon and Craig Hansen would lead the field to the green for the feature event at the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park, as it would be Craig Hansen taking the early advantage, with Bobby Varon sticking low to the inside, trying to take the race lead away. Trouble early in the event as Jamike Soule gets together with Mark Johnson and a few other cars, bringing out the caution, and it looks as though that would be a really tough break for the 7-Eleven for the second straight week. Off the restart, it would be Varon taking the race lead once again, with Tremont ducking to the inside, but a big pileup in turn number 1 with a number of cars involved, including the 816 of Jeff Rockefeller up there in there, as that would bring out the caution. On the restart, the top 2 would battle for position once again, as Varon to the inside, Hansen to the outside, with Tremont lurking behind him, and Varon would stick it down to the low side as he would take the race lead as they would catch lap traffic. Varon would continue to work the inside lane as he would get through, as Mark Johnson would make his way all the way back up to the number 2 spot. He would look to get a bid on the 85 machine, but it wouldn't be enough, as Varon would take home his second straight win. Bobby Varon goes back-to-back, picking up the victory. Mark Johnson would come home in second. Kenny Tremont third, keeping his consistency going. Craig Hansen would finish in fourth, and Elmo Rector fifth.
Today, I'm here at Fonda Speedway with David Constantino. Dave, tell me, first of all, I want to know, what was your hardest hit and where? Where have you suffered your worst wreck and where?
Those big tires at Glen Ridge, they hurt bad. Last year, that was probably the hardest hit I ever had. Even I got knocked out here once at Fonda, but those Uke tires hurt.
Now, what is your nickname? I think I know it, but let's tell the fans what it is and how you got it.
I have a nickname?
Well, what does everybody call you?
I don't know. Smokey?
Yeah.
Okay, my nickname's Smokey. Maynard Fred gave me that nickname a long time ago. I haven't been called that in a while, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that, because that is like your name. I thought everybody called you that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's kind of hanging around in the garage. Everybody still calls me that once in a while.
Now, what is the weirdest thing you've ever raced?
Weirdest thing I've ever raced? Boy, I don't know. I mean, we race everything we can find. We were racing Power Wheels last weekend.
Now tell me, what's going on? You always got something going on. You got a Reagan mask, you got a Darth Vader mask, you got a witch hat, you got a pirate hat, you got Rocco here. What else you got going on?
I rate his toy chest before we come to the races, so tonight I found the witch's hat.
So hopefully you're going to take the witch's hat to victory lane tonight.
That's the plan, that's the plan.
It's now time for our Berkshire County Network Driver Spotlight with modified driver Brian Gleason.
Race Pro Weekly is brought to you by Racing Electronics, your #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Rainmaker Productions, co-promoters of the Lou Lazzaro Memorial Race at Fonda Speedway on May 24th. Sheldon Oil Services, recycling for your future. And by Pilot Graphic Designs, signs, banners, decals, and so much more. Give Dan a call today at 315-539-3484.
It's not something you choose, it chooses you. It's something you're born with. It's a passion that consumes you. Being an outlaw is not for the weak. Being an outlaw is in your blood. Only an outlaw can survive a grueling 90-race schedule. 40,000 miles on the road, going from track to track. It's not about being posse or all-star. It's about being an outlaw. Only the best can call themselves outlaws. I'm Darren Pittman, World of Outlaws STP sprint car driver, and I'm an outlaw.
Sayers Auto Wrecking Incorporated is a towing service and an auto salvage yard. We offer 24-hour roadside assistance and damage-free towing. Our wreckers are radio dispatched for your convenience, and we're AAA approved for your peace of mind. On the auto salvage side, we pay top dollar for junk vehicles and sell a wide variety of used auto parts. We also buy scrap metals, including aluminum, copper, steel, and brass. You can learn more about all we do by calling Sayers Auto Wrecking today at 413-358-4374.
There's only one place in the Capital Region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there.
Welcome to True Grit, a feature dedicated to the sportsman stars of the Dig Safely New York Grit Racing Series powered by VP Racing Fuels. Now let's take a look at series point standings after 2 events. The West End Towing 79 of Rocky Warner has had a solid season to date with 2 top 5s and a win at Glenridge. Warner holds the point lead by a mere 3 points over Brian Crummell. Crummell, currently second in points behind Warner with the superior remodeling number 44, had an impressive run to the win at the hard clay lid lifter at Orange County. He bested Young Gun Rookie of the Year contender Connor Cleveland, who sits third in points after 2 events. Cleveland turned heads when he nearly won at Orange County in the Cleveland Brothers Landscaping 09. Fourth place in points is currently occupied by defending Grit Series champion Dave Marchicelli. The Page Trucking M1 had a strong showing at the Ridge, challenging for the win right to the drop of the checkered flag. Grit Series Rookie of the Year contender Brian Pesolano, following his first career tour in the Dodson Construction 24P, currently rides respectively 5th place in points. Orange County regular Chris Stevens finds himself in 6th place in points after 2 events. Mr. Nice Guy and the Frank Stevens and Sons Roofing 83 had a top 5 at Middletown. The 7th place man is also a Rookie of the Year contender. Johnny Ilanoski has the Malley Pool Water 15, places he's never been to before, to contend for the Grit Racing Series title. With his newly found Dodson Construction team ride, Dave Constantino, Darth Dave, in the 24D, has himself in the top 10 in points. He currently finds himself 8th. Ivan Joslin, no rookie to the Grit Racing Series, has the Lenny's tire number 49, sitting top 10 currently in point standings, with a trip to Utica Rome next on the schedule. Rounding out the top 10 is Dangerous Derek McGrew with the Tom Clothier Jr. trucking number 26. McGrew has a top 10 at the Ridge and is ready to ride come race day at any track. There you have it, race fans, the top 10 in Dig Safely New York Grit Racing Series powered by VP Racing Fuels point standings. To view a full listing of the top 25 in points, visit Grit Racing Series online at www.gritracingseries.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/Grit Racing Series. Don't forget, Monday, May 26th, the Grit Racing Series will be in action for the Stars and Stripes 30. It's a 30-lap holiday special at Utica Rome as part of the Victoria 200. Come out to the action track of the East for an exciting Memorial Day of racing.
Andrew Sherman Memorial Cup at the Lebanon Valley Speedway would be the nightcap for the Sportsman Division, as it would be Carmen Carnabucci leading the field to the green, car and out of shape early. That was the 61 of Johnny Scarborough, as he would collect a number of cars, including Robbie Speed and Todd Lane. Off the restart, Carnabucci would continue to lead the field as a slew of cars looking for the $2,000 to win feature event. We'll go into turn number 1 and 2, including Whitey Slavin, who would get by the 21 of Mike Middleton for position, putting himself in contention to try to pick up the victory. Carnabucci would remain your race leader. The 12C of Carlotta would go underneath of Hotelling for the position, but the caution would come out for the 96 of Rob Maxson, which would reset the field back to the previous lap's running order. Off of the restart, it would be Alan Hotelling doing a dive bomb move to the inside as he would take the number 1 spot away from Carnabucci as they head down the back straightaway. Cars continuing to be on the move. Ray Hall Jr. there, Jeff Watson as well, Whitey Slavin, Timmy Hartman Jr., and last time out's winner Michael Sabia on his way through the field, as Carlotta would go underneath the 95 of Carnabucci for the number 2 spot, so he would move from inside to outside to take the position. Trouble on the 53 of Whitey Slavin would bring out the caution about midway through the race, as he would have to come down pit road with a right rear tire going down on the 53. And off of the restart, it would be Hotelling taking the spot again as Virgilio and Johnson made contact going down the front straightaway as the cars would continue to make their way through. Carnabucci would have trouble on the 95 machine, as well as the 12C of Peter Carlotto, who would have a right rear flat tire. Meanwhile, Jeff Watson would continue to be on the move, as Ray Hall Jr. and Timmy Hartman as well, as they continued to fight towards the front, but nobody could catch Alan Hotelling as he would get his first win of the season in the Sportsman Division. Hoteling would get his first win in the Sportsman this season. Jeff Watson with back-to-back second places. Michael Sabia finishing third. Timmy Hartman Jr. fourth, and Ray Hall Jr. fifth. Other winners on the night in the small block modifieds, it would be Kim Lavoie. Nick Hilt would win the Pro Stocks, and the 3 Pure Stock winners of the night would be Dan Cody, Dave Stickles, and Stephen LaRochelle. Robbie Speed would lead the field to the green in the Pro Stock feature event up to Glen Ridge Motorsports Park with Randy Kosman and Walt Brownell and a few other drivers in tow in the early going. Nick Stone would be on the move once again. You'd see him go to the inside of the 87 of Brownell for the number 5 spot. As Speed would go to work on the inside, but Chucky Domblewski would be too strong for him as he'd take the race lead here in the early going of this feature event. A little bit of contact behind Nick Stone as Jim Normoyle involved in it, as here comes Stone to the inside of Robbie Speed. He'll take the number 2 spot away on the inside lane here in this feature event. Stone would then work to the inside of Domblewski for position as he would try to nose out ahead of him coming off of turn number 4, and that time at the line he would split both Speed and Domblewski for the spot. However, Domblewski would battle back on the outside lane as he tried to get a run on him, but Stone once again coming back on the inside. Final time off of turn number 3 and 4, checkers were out, and by a nose it would be Nick Stone picking up the win once again. Nick Stone does it again in the Pro Stocks, picking up the victory. Chucky Domblewski would finish in second, Robbie Speed third, Gus Holner fourth, and Randy Kosselman would round out your top 5. Other winners on the night in the Sportsman, it would be Rocky Warner, and in the CRA Sprint Cars, it would be Darryl Ruggles. 4-wide salute to the fans for the CRSA feature, making its way to Fonda as it would be Josh Panizik leading the field to the green in the Warren's Auto Body Machine. So he would take the early race lead ahead of the 10 of Joe Cotta as they made their way around the half-mile oval. Trouble early in the event is the 19 EM of Emily Van Indwagen would get it out of control in turn number 4. She would look to try to regroup in that Allstate sponsored machine. As the cars would continue to make their way around at high speeds, you would have Mike Kaiser and Jordan Thomas running for position as Kaiser would slide up right in front of the Thomas machine, but no one was catching Josh Panizik, and he would pick up the win in the CRSA Sprint feature event. And by the way, with that last name on the side of the car, you really can't go wrong on anything, can you? It would be Josh Panizik taking home the victory. Joe Cotta would finish in second, Corey Sparks third, Billy J. Cox fourth, and Jordan Thomas fifth. Other winners on the night, John McAuliffe would take home the win in the Sportsman, cousin Luke Horning in the Pro Stocks, Neil Kosselman in the Street Stocks, and Kenny Hollenbeck in the 4 cylinders. Mike Kolka would pick up the held-over feature victory. Tim Heinley would finish in second, Craig Mitchell third, Gary Edwards Jr. fourth, and Mike Ruggiero would round out your top 5. Richie Urich would get the win. Tommy Meyer would come home in the number 2 spot. Chris Whitehead third, Tim Heinley fourth, and Donnie Wilson fifth. Other winners on the weekend, you'd find Frank Venezia picking up the win in the Sportsman, Paul Hyde in the Rookie Sportsman, Mike Vigiletti in the Street Stocks, and Daryl Holbert in the Vintage Modifieds. It's now time to take a look at our weekend battles. At the Bridgeport Speedway, Richie Pratt would pick up the victory, Scott Armbruster finishing in second, Ryan Watt third, Stan Frankenfield fourth, and Dave Witt would round out your top 5. At the Brockville, Ontario Speedway, Danny O'Brien would get the win, Bobby Harrington would finish in second, Stefan LaFrance third, Jordan McCready fourth, and Ryan Arbuthnot finishing fifth. At the Land of Legends, Matt Billings picks up his first career modified victory. Dale Plank would finish in the number 2 spot, Billy Dunn third, Peter Britton fourth, and Matt Shepard fifth. In round 1 of the 358 Dirt Cars Series at the Cornwall Motor Speedway, it would be the 22C of Mario Claire picking up the win. Eric Rudolph would finish in second, Danny O'Brien third, Dale Plank fourth, and David Hebert fifth. At the Delaware International Speedway, H.J. Bunting would pick up the victory. Jamie Mills would come home in second, Jordan Watson third, Bo Wilkins fourth, and Joe Watson fifth. At the 5 Mile Point Speedway, the feature from May 10th would be P.J. Goodwin picking up the victory, Kevin Bates finishing second, Mike Colston third, Joey Colston fourth, and Nick Petrolak would round out the top 5. Feature number 2, it was The Dream, Brian Weaver picking up the win, Jamie Batzel finishing in second, Joey Colston third, Chris Wood fourth, and young gun Anthony Perego fifth. At the Fulton Speedway, it was wreckers to checkers, Billy Decker getting the win after a tough wreck a week ago, Chuck Bauer finishing in second, Chris Heil third, Pat Ward fourth, and Rob Bellinger fifth. At the Grandview Speedway, Craig Von Doren would get the victory. John Kellner coming home in the number 2 spot, Dwayne Howard 3rd, Kevin Herthler 4th, and Jordan Umbenhauer 5th. At Lernerville, it would be Rex King picking up the win, Rex King Jr. finishing in 2nd, Brad Rapp 3rd, Jeremiah Shingeldecker 4th, and Tom Winkle 5th. At the Merrittville Speedway, round 1 of the Tri-Track Series, Matt Williamson would take home the win. Chad Brockman would finish in 2nd, Ryan Soucy's 3rd, Tommy Flanagan 4th, and Scott Wood 5th. Round 2 of the 358 Dirt Car Series at the Merrittville Speedway, the Dr. Danny Johnson would make a house call picking up the victory. Chad Brockman finishing in 2nd, Tim McCready 3rd, Matt Williamson 4th, and Ryan Soucy's 5th. Down at the Ransomville Speedway, which was $2,000 to win in the opener, Mr. Small Block, Pete Bicknell would grab the victory. Eric Rudolph would come home in the number 2 spot, Tommy Flanagan 3rd, Ryan Soucy's 4th, and Robbie Kroll 5th. At Thunder Mountain Speedway, it would be Brett Wilcox picking up the victory, Brian Malcolm finishing in 2nd, Chad Cook 3rd, Byron Worthing 4th, and Ryan Jordan 5th. At the Utica Rome Speedway, Larry White would get the victory, Stuart Friesen would finish in 2nd, Pat Ward 3rd, Willie Decker 4th, and Ryan Phelps 5th. And finally, at the Woodhull Raceway, Billy Van Pelt would get the victory. Mike Bills would come home in 2nd, Frank Dunning 3rd, Josh Noberga 4th, and Stacy Jackson would round out your top 5.
The Choices 301 program takes a multifaceted approach aimed at educating the public about the realities and dangers of what can happen when bad decisions are made inside a motor vehicle. Don't hesitate to designate. If you are a tracker series that would like to be highlighted on Race Pro Weekly, email us at show@raceproweekly.com. Comebacks in the world of racing happen in all different ways. This week we take the white flag with Glenbridge Modify competitor Jim Nagel and his story on how he got back in the race car this season.
Jim, you've had success at Glenridge in the past. What happened that made you step out of the driver's seat?
I needed to regroup after a couple years ago. I just got really behind on my program, so we took some time off. I wasn't racing at all last year. I got a ride part-time and only lasted 3 races until I got in a car accident, but we were able to, get another deal put together, and, this is completely my deal, and we're racing close to home and having fun.
How did the car accident and being out of the driver's seat affect you so far?
Well, I was a little bit nervous coming in here today, just because it's been so long. I really haven't raced that much in the last couple of years, but I went out and, hot laps, and it's like putting on an old pair of shoes. Everything came right back, so it felt really good to be out there today.
What does 2014 hold for you, Jim? Are you planning on staying here at Glenridge, or are you maybe hitting up all the tracks? What's your plans?
I'm pretty much going to stay here on Sunday nights. It works for me. I got a pretty hectic work schedule. My goal this year is just to have fun. I just got a new reality and perspective in a lot of things. So number one's having fun, and that's what we're going to keep doing here.
So overall, you're just happy to be back racing, be back at Glenridge, and be back behind the wheel.
Yep, and anytime we can put the car on the trailer in one piece, it's a bonus for us. So it's all smiles.
There's got to be some people you got to thank for this.
I have a lot of people that I have to thank. My dad's been a big supporter of mine. My crew guy, Todd Clark, he comes in, he puts a lot of time in on this car. We picked up a couple new sponsors, CNC Roll-Offs and Tina's Wingin' It Chicken Wing Sauce, delicious stuff. My godfather, Tom Toohey, chips in a little bit. I also got to thank Artie and Anita Philbeck. They opened up their race shop and able to, let me keep this car stored in there. And they're like my second family.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and it's World of Outlaw competitor Darren Pittman. Pittman is now eligible for the NISCA Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online, www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So for myself, Matt Knowles, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, Dave Del Sandro, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.